Ah, comrades, isn't that a magnificent view? Yes, as you can see, I've reinstalled Spectra and the Environmental Visual Enhancements mod, as well as Scatterer, of course, as you can see here. I also have the Waypoint Manager. That's why we have these two mods down here. So you might ask, but Comrade Admiral, why have you done this thing after you said we're not going to have more mods? Well, this view is the reason, comrades. I, as the director of the space program, often like to come up here on the VAB's roof and view the sunrise and the sunset. And I just couldn't resist having this mod again, or actually set of mods. But of course, if the gameplay is ever impacted by frame rate problems or anything, then they will be kicked out like Team Rocket. So anyway, I also have a little FPS counter here. This is part of Steam, just to keep track of things, but so far I've never seen it go below 30, 40 something actually. But I think for now we can just keep this, because it looks so fantastic. Right, it's been a few days since our last mission. It's the 10th day now, so it's 3 days later. It is now the done day, so Thursday essentially of the week. And I thought let's do a few suborbital missions just for getting extra funds before we go for the big orbital one. Of course, Jebediah is still resting after his world record flight, going to the edge of space, so we will not use him for these missions. Now this is what we have available. Orbit Kerbal will have to wait a week or two, I think. So in the meantime we can do some of these smaller ones. I see we also have a few for orbiting parts here, like the Bobcat or the decoupler. No, that one is not in orbit. That's also suborbital. I think it's changed actually since I had a look and fast forwarded the clock here. So in any case, I think we can certainly do this one. Testing the Spark landed at Kerbal. So let's take that one. And we can also, I don't want to do the launch site because that obviously is where we are now, and I still want to do things in the desert. Let's see, is there any other easy one? Hey, we already have tourists who want to have suborbital flights. Maybe that's not a terrible idea. Should we do that? We've just had our own suborbital flight, a proper one. And now we already have tourists who want to do it. But you know, they will pay for this experience. And of course we also get a lot of prestige from that. Maybe we'll do that. What about this VIP? There's another one who wants a suborbital space flight. That's interesting. I think we'll do some of those. But then obviously we have to first spend our science, and that will have to be for not basic science, this one. I know I said I wanted basic science next, but if we are taking tourists, then we'll need the crew cabin. I don't want to string together too many of these Mark 1 command pods. Of course we could do the onion, but I mean it's the same thing. Let's just have a look if there's any other option here. Obviously we have to wait for that first. This one could do the P, then we would have to do multiple flights. You know, let's do this one, actually. Let's take this. Of course the reaction wheel is not a bad thing. And of course the winglets as well. I just don't want to get into this kind of, you know, airplane cabin being used for a rocket yet. We are supposed to go more for realism, right? So we'll do this one. Unlock that. And then, of course, we go to the VAB. Right, here we are. So we are going to ask Propadobadyne Incorporated to develop the P module for us. And they have duly done so. Right, now let's just have a look at this thing. Now, this is still technically, not a full small lift vehicle launch, so I think we can still do it in the same week as the previous one. It just has to be with a different pilot. So obviously it's going to be Valentina and one of the tourists. So right now I just think let's design something interesting, and let me have some coffee. Right, let's see what we can do. Now obviously we are not going to have SAS for this mission because it's not a part of this vehicle, and of course we don't have any probe cores yet, and even if we did, the Sputnik couldn't do that. So we are going to have to rely solely on the fins, the aerodynamics for actual flight control. Now again, the thing is we don't have that many parts yet, so I can't really make this look very nice. I mean, putting that on the top is not going to look great. Because this is a little heavier than the normal command module, I think we'll just use the radial mount parachute. And we'll pretend, as we have done in the past, that this little protrusion here is where the actual parachute is stored, instead of slapping it on the top. You see it anyway overlaps with that segment there. Just because I want to bury this into the pod then. So of course we just have to line this up a little bit. And it's not going to be possible to get it too precise, so I'll just have to do that myself. In any case, this is pretty accurate. It doesn't have to be right in the middle, because the mass of this is anyway not perfectly in the middle of the parachute because of this long edge here. So I think then, of course, I wish I could just hide it in there, but of course we have to put it just underneath there, just so it doesn't stick out. But of course, again, it is packed in this upper area, as we like to pretend. Now the force percent, I don't think it really makes a difference. It's still going to kick it loose with some force there, but for us we can just turn it down anyway. Now that is the actual capsule there, or command module. Now we have to think about what we are actually going to use for the vehicle. I think we'll do as we did before. We'll use the same rocket, the pulsar. So I'm going to say don't save. I was supposed to say open. Let me just put this back again. Right, it's back there. Of course we have to make sure it looks nice, nothing is sticking out anywhere, and it actually is a little bit right there. There. Perfection is a powerful message. Of course we'll never have perfection, but that is of course a line from the movie Sphere, if you've ever seen that one, with Sharon Stone of course. Anyway, let's just see. I want to say open this, don't save, and then take the pulsar, then merge that of course, and I'm not sure what actually counts as suborbital. I'm sure we have to reach the high atmosphere anyway, so taking the exact same thing again is fine. Of course we don't need the decoupler for that. And that's basically all. The ablator is not really necessary, as we saw with the previous mission, but I'll still include it there, just as a test again. You know, we have to test that thoroughly before we do our actual orbital mission. Now we still don't have launch clamps, so we use our usual system here, and of course the order of things has changed, so we just have to get that right again. Now interestingly enough, the thrust to weight has changed because of course this is a heavier module, so I have to just boost that again. Let's go a little bit faster than we did before. Maybe 1.44, since we're learning a little bit more about the whole thing. Then for this one I also want to put on, let's see, which one do I want? I guess we'll go with a cheaper option for now, even though the Delta Deluxe costs less. It costs a lot more to develop. For now we'll start with the AVR8. It just seems again like, you know, following progression. We can't jump to the top of the list immediately. And then of course we'll put that on there, and as usual I want to rotate these so they are more vertical. They're not quite there yet. That'll do. Right. Now I also don't want to make their deploy angle too much. Authority limiter, I guess. Let's bring both to 10 so it doesn't flail around too wildly. Then of course we separate this and we fire that engine, then we separate that, and we hopefully have a successful landing. Now I'm going to save this one as the Pulsar 2. Just so that again we have this design. I can easily take the wings off again. Save. Right. Now we didn't take the contract yet, so I'll just go and take that. Right, of course we did take the Spark as well. Should we take the VIP? This is just one, so it will be done immediately. Melville Kerman of Reaction Systems Limited. I guess it's the CEO of Reaction Systems Limited. We will accept this contract and we will launch this from the desert again with Valentina. Right, Valentina, you will fly the first tourist mission in Kerbin's history. Melville, I just want you to also use the same design of suit, and then I think we can just grab the name and of course do the normal bookkeeping. I'll just note down the cost of this mission and be back with you in a moment. Right, I've noted everything down in our log. And this mission will be named after... Oh, it's not fitting there. Uncle Mike. Of course, Uncle Mike has been a supporter of this channel and a friend of this channel for a long time. And it's great that his name is attached to our first tourist mission. Right, I think that's all. We're not going to do any individual numbering here. I do think we will program in an abort system. We have to do that. So of course in this case the abort is literally just decouple and then we'll deploy the parachute. I'll put the parachute on custom 10 just so that it is close at hand if we need it. Now of course getting to this is going to be the usual pain. I'll just have to move the whole thing. Nope. Still more. One of the benefits, of course, of building things in the spaceplane hangar is that you have a lot more control over this. This should work. Still not. Let's try from the other side. Right, that'll do. At least it's there. You know, we have to think about this because there's no revert for this kind of mission. And of course we are not doing this for ourselves. We are doing this for Reaction Systems. So their flag should be attached to that. Of course we can confirm that just quickly by saving. And and just having a look here again. I want to be sure. Yes, it's Reaction Systems. Right, go back and we will launch this and I will see you in the desert, comrades. Right, it's still a lovely day here, of course. It is in the afternoon already, but there we are. So if we just have a look at our universal time again, it is now 1:15. Of course, we're not attached to any electrical supplies here, but we won't use any because there's not a probe core attached here. But I think just for expediency, we will launch this one at 1:30. So I will just note this in our log again. Right, it's done. So we will just speed up a little. Okay, 10 minutes, get ready. Malphil is a little indifferent still. We'll see if he likes the experience. And 3 minutes, 2 minutes, right. So 60 seconds. Throttle up. No SAS. Well, there is SAS. It's just not... but there is no reaction wheel system here. At least it will keep the fin stable. That's a good thing. Right, Valentina is still very happy. And 40 seconds. We'll do the usual and launch to the east again a little bit. 30. Malphil is still, he has a bit of a smile but a straight face. There he's a little bit more excited. 20 seconds. 15. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. And liftoff of the Pioneer 2. No, not Pioneer, Pulsar 2. I have to shift my mindset. There we go, a very clean launch. Of course, a very weird looking rocket. I have only so many options still at the moment. We'll just pitch over a little. Of course, this is technically yawing over, but anyway, the result is the same. Then we'll just turn the SAS off. And our tourist is not happy. Oh well. He's literally the first tourist. I mean, we've just barely made the edge of space ourselves, and here we have, well, now he's happy. Now we already have a tourist. It doesn't matter which inclination we have at the moment. We're not going that far. Right, almost at the speed of sound. One of the things we're going to have to do is build some kind of antenna right there at the desert side to leave it out there, just to strengthen the signal. We're almost out of touch. And, well, there we go. It's just a bit too wild for everyone. Luckily, Valentina used the gimbal on the engine to partially regain control. Alright, abort that. No, we're not going to abort that. We'll say it's part of the tour. Anyway, I hope this will count as a suborbital flight. We'll just separate there. That is anyway kind of an abort. We made it to possibly high atmosphere. Let's just do a quick crew report. Yes, the upper atmosphere. I think this will count. Maybe they want to be in space, in which case we'll have to redesign the Pulsar rocket a little. But Malphil is very happy. Hopefully he will tell his friends at Reaction Systems Limited all about our great achievements, and they will design many great parts for us in the future. Let's have a look inside. A bit upside down, back and forth there. But yes, right at the cutting edge of our scientific achievement, we have a tourist also joining in, which is a good thing, I think. It's very good for getting public support. Now the pyramids, there they are, the Great Pyramid Complex. We still have to go there soon. Right, shall we? Yes, I think let's deploy the parachute now. There it goes. Very nicely placed. A little offside there, but that's alright. There goes the lower stage. And of course now we can just speed up a little while we see the pyramids in the background. Great. Now the reason I installed the Waypoint Manager is it will really help us with our contract, so we can actually see where we're supposed to go while we're in flight. So yes, it's definitely helped me with that moon mission as well, driving around on the moon in my own career save. Now we're going to have a possible problem here. Someone is going to have to get out quickly to stop us from rolling down this hill. Valentina, are you ready? 8 meters is a bit rough. Well, actually it was alright. We didn't roll down. Right, the mission is not complete. They want to go to space itself, so we will have to adapt the rocket. But this was a good test at least to get Malful used to the whole thing and to work out the kinks with a tourist. So let's recover this vessel and just think about redesigning this rocket a little bit. No science, of course. Some of the funds we did get back, and Malful got some XP. Well, that's good, you know, you want your tourists to have a little XP. Valentina gets the first ribbon, or the first passenger transport ribbon in our history, which is a great thing. Now, in this case, I do think we have to fast forward a little bit. So get ready for that. Look away if you don't like flashing lights. We're just going ahead to, I think, day 14. There we go, not too fast. Right, it is a bit late, so I guess we'll go to day 15, and I've gone over it, but that's okay. Let's just have a look what the situation is in the desert right now. It is at the edge of day, so I think we'll actually go then to the next day, which would be the Mo day or the Wednesday. Let's just get the day to tick over. There we go, day 16. That's a good timing, I think. So now we'll try again, but of course first we have to just redesign the rocket. I think we'll still call it the Pulsar, but it should be like the Pulsar 1A or 1B or something like that. Right, now let's think about this. I still want to keep this here. This is a good configuration, just so we have a pilot, of course, and then a passenger, not all of them crammed in one vehicle. Now, I would think the first step that we actually have to do is to we can actually keep this vehicle because it's severely underpowered, of course. We'll just add more fuel. So we'll keep it the exact same vehicle, we just use more of its capacity. And then the upper stage should be okay. Let's actually add another one. Let's fill it up completely. That's going to be overkill now. And just start using more of the engine's capacity. So that's actually beyond the limit of this vehicle. I think then leaving one tank empty is probably as far as we can go. This is the fullest extent of the Pulsar rocket as it stands now. So this will of course then be Pulsar 3, and this gives another comrade a chance to take part, and this will be Comrade Nominal Penguin, which is a name I love. It's fantastic, Nominal Penguin. Right, you're there, so let's hope this will be a good mission. Now of course I would have liked to put the flag of our client onto the rocket, but of course we can't do that yet. So is there anything else we need to do? I just need to write down the cost of this one. Of course the fuel will make it slightly more expensive, 9651. Right, it's noted down. Let's save this one as well. From now on we save them all. Right, go to the desert and go again. Now this time it can be Jeb. I think Valentina still is on her break period, so it should be someone else now. Right, desert. And we are back again. Comrades, you also have to start thinking for next month. The 24th of June is the 10-year anniversary of KSP. That was its first public release back in 2011. So we really have to think about what we want to do that day. We have to do something. I tweeted at KSP on their Twitter channel thing, And I asked them, do they have any plans for that day? I haven't seen anything about it anywhere. And of course, it's a great milestone for KSP. So, of course, if they answer, I will let you know. But yes, I think let's get ready for this mission. And it was just on the hour, so I think we will actually go back to the half hour for this one. So we'll just fast forward to 0:30. Maybe I'll do a live stream on that day. Who knows? I have to see what day is the 24th actually. Alright, 10 minutes. 5 minutes. And there we go, 60 seconds has passed. So, this one should take us to the edge of space again. And then we will fulfill this contract. Right, let's do our checks. Checks seem good. Thirty seconds. Twenty. 15. Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition and liftoff of Pulsar 3, Nominal Penguin. Oh, things are going rough here. We're out of contact. Okay, we're still alright. Almost flipped over there due to the shifting mass. This will do. I think we'll keep on this. The aerodynamic forces should be diminishing now. We can also reduce our throttle somewhat. Only 50%. Let's not overdo it. And separate. And ignition. And it's going all crazy again. Yes, I'm afraid we still have some problems with this this thing called rocketry. Of course, it's the lack of control. There's no reaction wheel, but it should still work. That just was a little bit too much of a joyride for the passengers here. Now, I think we might still not make it. Oh, good grief. We still haven't made it. It's a learning experience for our fledgling space program. Rather, we have to keep going straight up for this, I think. That's another one. Let's separate. And I will fast forward and meet you back on the ground, comrades. Well, comrades, this time it will be our very first water landing, which again gives us an opportunity to study that aspect of retrieving mission vehicles after use, you know. We have to be prepared for that sort of thing. So actually we have to be thankful for Malthal, because these missions are teaching us a lot of things, and I already have several ideas of how we are going to improve the pulsar rocket. So let's just deploy the parachute now and then go splash down, and hopefully we won't sink, you know. Of course we won't, but we won't know that yet. Scatterer just makes so much of a difference. Right, there we go. About 7 Gs just for a moment, so it's not really too much of a risk. Now there's no land in sight. We've traveled quite far, haven't we? Right, go. Let's splash down. Jeb might get another record for this. And there we are, comrades. Did we get something? World's first. That's the first splashdown in the ocean. And now, of course, we actually have some kind of waves here. So it's a nice addition, and we still get almost 60 FPS. 55. That's pretty decent. I'll keep it as long as we can still enjoy the game without any problems. Right. Recover. No science, of course, some funds, and no XP. Now Jeb has several. The first splashdown, the Mach 1 ribbon, flying horizontally at Mach 1 below 30 kilometers, or more or less horizontally. Of course, it wasn't perfectly. And also the passenger ribbon. Of course, every time you have a passenger, you get that ribbon. Now, we have to think about this. I will redesign this thing now, then we'll skip time again. So the first thing that I want to do here is, actually, we will fill out this tank completely. Now, of course, you might say, Comrade Admiral, we're not going to really fly with this thing. Well, I have something in mind for that. The second thing I have in mind is we are going to use basic fins on the upper stage just for that extra bit of insurance, because obviously we need it. Now again, this is not going to be ultra pretty, but we'll have to make do for now. Just put it below the separation here. We don't want to run into any problems there. So obviously it will slightly overhang the engine, but it won't be affected by the plume there. So this is alright, just for that stability. Now the next change that I want to make is to make sure that we drain from the top down. So this is 30, 30, so we have to make this a lower priority. Actually, we should start at the top. +1. That one stays the same. This one is -1. This one is -2, and then this one is -3. There. So we should drain from the top and keep the bottom heavy so that we stay upright for longer. The next thing, and this is now a bit unconventional, this is purely just for the sake of it, really. Let's just take this off for now. We'll keep that. We are going to strap a small solid booster on the bottom, just to help us get off the ground through the very lowest part of the atmosphere. Risky, I know, but for some reason I just can't resist. Let's just see if it's sensible. No, it's not sensible, unfortunately. Can we reduce the fuel a bit? Well, now I've put another one on. Of course, we still have our limits here. Is it going to be worth it at all? No, it's not. That's hardly worth it. How long is that going to burn for? 2 seconds. Never mind, never mind. So in that case, we'll solve the problems by the changes that I've made, and of course then keeping the profile of the flight more vertical. No need for gravity turns really. Just a little bit, of course. So the last thing I think is we'll make a kind of a hot stage here. We'll separate the craft upper stage from the lower stage and fire the engine at the same time. I was also thinking, you know, in terms of our kind of semi-realism playthrough, we shouldn't really throttle our main stage engines that much. Of course we can. I'm not going to put on realism overall that forces us to burn at 100% or, you know, gives us only one ignition or things like that. Still, I want the control over it, so I'm not going to do that kind of mod. I'll just try and not really throttle the main engine, and if I do, only a little bit. The upper stages are a different story, and of course technically this engine can also be used as an upper stage, so it will depend on the situation. That's why I don't want a strict kind of mod to make that decision. Just something else, you know. Anything that we want to put on to this? Maybe an antenna. We have to wait until we get a relay before we can put the sort of communication station at the desert launch site. It's not really necessary. Temperature, nah, I think we're okay. So we are going to just rename this to Pulsar 4. We are surely going through them really quickly, but of course the days are passing, so it's not really rushed. Next we have Comrade J. Banks. Welcome. Let's see if you will be the lucky winner of today's launch. No other changes necessary. I will save this, then we will leave and just fast forward to the next week, I think. So that would be day 21 for the Monday again. Actually, we should do this from the tracking station so we can see when it's day in the desert. And my phone is going off. I don't want to be disturbed during KSP gameplay, so I block that thing immediately. Brutal but necessary, right, comrades? Right, day 21. Actually, it's not day 21. I'm thinking about 7-day weeks again. So this would be what, day 21? Let me check. That would be a Mo Day again, a Wednesday. Well, there we go. It doesn't matter. It's the next week already, so it's fine. Let's do this launch and see if we can finally get it right. Of course, we also have to do the other one, the Spark, so let's try to do this as well. Might have a plan for that. Let's see. So they want us to test the Spark, of course. Test the Spark. Landed at Kerbal. So I could just, in theory, just attach it to our stand that we have here. And I'll just turn it on. I won't use it, but we'll do the test, you know. Kind of in situ, but not actually being used. Why not? I'll put it on the top there. So Pulsar 4 J Banks, this is then actually both OMB. I think they're the ones who gave that mission for us. And then of course reaction systems. But that's alright. We just use reactions flag because they're the ones leaving the ground. Let's go. Right, in this case we'll launch at 1 o'clock again. Just on the hour. Right, so in this case Jeb will again try, and then we'll reserve the actual orbital launch for Valentina. Right, 2 minutes and 1 minute 30. Let's go to about 30 seconds. Or a bit further. Right, we're ready. Let's just plug everything in and see if it works. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. And barely a liftoff, but it is a liftoff. There we go. And cut engine. That will do. We don't want to go too far. Actually, just the extra fuel and the better trajectory has solved all of our problems here. So Malful has certainly been there at the pioneering beginning stages of the space program, and he can go on to write a book about his experiences. Of course, provided we make it back down, but I don't think that should be a problem. So I'm actually going to skip all of this. It's not necessary anymore. And we'll see if we can do it. There we go. Of course, there's a lot of spinning around again, but at least it's on course this time. So Malful will actually become the second Kerbal in space. Can you believe it? Of course, Jeb has done this before, so it's his second time in space. But technically then, Malful is the second Kerbal to do this, which is actually a great thing that a tourist could do that. This will of course make worldwide headlines and bring a lot of renown to our space program and our efforts. I can now fast forward, of course. Let's just see, is there anything to do? Nothing really, of course. I'll keep this. We'll pretend Malful is also doing his own kind of crew report for his book that he's going to write. And I will see you on the ground again, comrades. Now I actually remember I forgot to do the engine test. Eesh! Oh well, I can do that now in just a moment. Actually, it's better maybe this way, so the glory does belong to Reaction Systems and their VIP instead of sharing it with other companies just because they did an engine test on the launch pad. And we are coming in for a nice landing, nice flat area of course. And there we go. Great! Look how happy he is. Fantastic success. Let's recover the vessel. Now, of course, we did get a bit of science from this because of the suborbital flight again. We did make it to space for only the second time. Some funds and no XP, of course, as before. No new ribbons for Jeb. There we go. So we've done this contract now. Malful's itinerary is complete, and he had nothing but great things to say about his 3 trips. But he was there. He helped us. He helped push our space program to learn more about, you know, the very early days of rocketry. Now, before the sun sets here, I think I will just go, and this is not a launch, so I'm not going to note it in the log for this case. Let's see, what do I need for this? Actually, I will need someone to just sit in the vehicle. Jeb is not going to do it. We'll take Bill since he's the engineer. And we will keep it the same. Of course, it doesn't count for the vehicle. We just need someone to actually do the test there. And I think this might actually be now on the normal launch pad. No, it is, yes. Still, of course, it's the old early design. That's alright. Doing basic tests here, that's okay. We're still launching from the desert, but we do some tests at this site as well. So we'll run the test, and it's done. And we can recover. It's better actually, then we get 100% of it back instead of in the desert where we will not get 100% back, even if it's on the pad. And there we go, all of it is back, and Bill did his little part there. He did a single mission as an engineer, even though it wasn't technically a mission per se. I'm not going to mark that down. So now we can, of course, end this episode as we started it, comrades. So let's go back onto the roof of the VAB. And wait just a minute for the sun to disappear behind the mountain. And there it goes, 1:11 as always. You can set your watch by it. Well, this has been a great episode, comrades. Of course, some learning experiences, as are always the case. Even if you play this 100 times, you will always get that kind of flipping at the start of the rockets, and we are limited in our parts and everything, but we have to go through that. It's part of the evolution of a space program. So, I will see you again next time, comrades. Keep sending in your names by giving comments, and I will add them to the list. Have a fantastic day, comrades. I will see you soon again.